The SUV shot into the air like some oversized toy getting yanked out of a sandbox, wheels flailing momentum, hurling it straight into the HOA's picture-perfect flower bed. You could actually hear the petunias bursting as the car crashed down, and Karen, our self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac, screamed so loud you'd think someone had been murdered. Everybody in the neighborhood froze right where they stood. Even the wind seemed to stop for a second, like karma itself just wanted to watch. 5 seconds earlier, Karen had stomped her foot on the gas and yelled, "You don't own this driveway, nerd boy." 5 seconds later, her luxury SUV was perched sideways like a Lego brick someone stuck in the wrong set. And there I was, just taking a slow sip of my coffee, whispering, "Told you to. Nobody in particular." This war started a few weeks earlier over nothing more than some tire tracks and an uninvited SUV parked in front of my garage. I'm Jack Moresby, work-from-home engineer. I keep my head down and my garage even neater. I bought this house for the long, private driveway, a little slice of peace where I could mind my own business and build things that never bothered anybody. That illusion shattered the day Karen moved in next door, trailing a moving truck and attitude so thick you'd need a chainsaw to get through it. Within a day, she was knocking on my door, demanding to know if I was planning to trim my already trimmed hedge. Next came complaints about my garage lights, the faint whiff of solder, and apparently the worst crime, my absence from HOA meetings. I didn't even know we had an HOA until she crowed about being the new president. Overnight, the neighborhood felt smaller, meaner, more watched. Then Karen decided my driveway was a shortcut for her morning errands. First time I thought, hey, maybe GPS got confused. But the third time she breezed through with a smile and called out, "Hope you don't mind saves me a minute." She drove off like I was just an NPC in her personal video game. The next morning I tried to reason with her, explained, "It's my property, my rules, pretty simple stuff." She just laughed in my face and said, "Come on, it's just cement." Besides, I'm HOA president now. I could make it community access if I wanted. Now that set off all kinds of alarms. I checked the deed, no easement, no fine print. This was my land. But the next day, a bogus violation appeared in my mailbox: obstruction of community flow, signed by nobody on a fake HOA letterhead. I confronted her. She opened the door before I even knocked, practically grinning. "Maybe next time you'll cooperate." She leaned in, whispering, "What are you gonna do, Jack? Build a robot to chase me off?" That's when I decided why not. I'd worked on security projects before, stuff that could stop a truck on a dime, so I figured I'd build something to protect my peace and send a message. Called up my buddy Caleb, staged a backyard barbecue to drown out the construction noise, and together we set up a retractable vehicle barrier right under some carefully disguised tiles, silent, pressure, sensitive, and controllable from my phone. Camera sensors, the works. First mode was just a warning, a soft blue LED. When Karen sped through next time, it blinked. She stopped, got out, tried to pry up the tiles with her perfect nails, couldn't budge them. She yelled, "This is harassment." "You don't scare me, Jack." The next day, she called 911, claimed there was a medical emergency and needed to use my driveway. When the fire truck arrived, so did Karen in her SUV waving with a bag of groceries. The HOA took her side, spreading rumors that I was some kind of paranoid madman building booby traps. She even ripped down my no trespassing sign and threw it in my roses. That was enough. I flipped the switch to intercept mode. And just as I predicted, Karen barreled up my drive one morning, yelling into her headset about harassment charges and turning my garage into a community gym. The barrier popped up her tires, hit it like a ramp, and suddenly she was airborne, crashing right into her own precious flower bed. The neighbors poured out, phones in hand. Karen stumbled out of the car, screaming mascara, running absolutely livid. Every moment was recorded: her trespasses, her threats, the whole circus. But of course she doubled down. The very next morning she was on my porch screaming that I was going to jail for installing a death trap. "I'm the HOA president. You can't just build a robot weapon without permission." She called the cops, filed a complaint, and handed me another fake violation. This one with a grainy photo of her SUV midair as evidence of malicious obstruction. I laughed. My footage was in 4K with timestamps and audio, her voice clear as day, screaming, "I'll show you who owns this driveway." That's when I called Greg, my old lawyer. He took one look at my files and said, "Jack, if they want to fight, we'll bury them in paperwork." Karen staged a special HOA meeting, didn't even invite half the residents. I showed up anyway, USB drive in my pocket. She played her edited out-of-context video painting me as a maniac. Then I played mine unedited, every warning, every trespass. Her ripping down signs, her own voice threatening to fake emergencies. The room went silent. Karen tried to keep her composure, but you could see her sweating. The board delayed their vote. I posted the video anonymously, of course, on a big subreddit. It exploded overnight. By the next day, reaction videos, legal breakdowns, even an engineer calling my barrier a work of art. Karen filed another report, this time with the police. The officer who showed up watched the footage and said it was the cleanest case of justified force he'd seen in years. But Karen wasn't done. She sued me for property damage, emotional distress, even driveway weaponization. Her lawsuit was full of made-up claims, wild exaggerations, and statements from her last loyal board members. Greg just shook his head and started working on a counterclaim, defamation, property interference, misuse of her position. You name it. My neighbors started coming forward stories of fake fines, intimidation threats. All of it went into the file Greg labeled ammo. Court day came and Karen arrived dressed like a soap opera villain, her lawyer in tow. She never looked at me. Her lawyer went on and on about safety, and Community Trust played her doctored footage, called my system a weapon. Greg just asked to play the full video. The judge watched Karen threaten trespass, laugh at warnings, and admit on camera to faking emergencies. When the judge asked if the HOA had ever voted to take my property, Karen blurted, "I'm the president. I don't need a vote." 15 minutes later, the judge threw out her case, declared my barrier legal, and scheduled a hearing for my suit against Karen and the HOA. Greg grinned and said, "Get ready for the real fun." Turns out, once you start digging, a lot more dirt comes up. Karen had faked signatures, approved imaginary repairs, insulted neighbors behind their backs, and called me the garage goblin in private emails. The neighborhood started to wake up. Victor, a board member Karen had threatened for putting up a pride flag, thanked me for standing up. People started talking about their own run-ins, the way Karen ruled with fear. It all came pouring out at a special meeting called by the board. One by one, neighbors shared stories. A retiree fined for feeding birds, a single mom threatened with CPS, a craftsman accused of running an illegal business. Someone finally asked, "Can we vote tonight?" And with the HOA charter in hand, Victor called an emergency removal. The ballots weren't even close. 39-3. For the first time, Karen looked me in the eye and hissed, "You think you've won? You ruined my life." I didn't answer. The board announced her removal. She stormed out, slamming the door, heels echoing like gunshots. But she wasn't done. Late that night, her rental SUV crept past my house windows, rolled down, glare lingering. I knew it wasn't really over for her, but it was for the rest of us. Victor took over, ditched the worst rules, and folks started smiling again. Someone painted a mural in the park, an SUV flying through the air with consequences underneath. I kept the barrier not because I needed it, but because it was a symbol. Months passed. Karen put her house up for sale. The day the movers came, she didn't look at me, just got in the car and drove away. A while later, an anonymous letter and flash drive appeared on my doorstep footage of Karen at the airport, screaming at a gate agent about not getting first class, demanding to know why a soldier got her seat. Somebody else uploaded that video. It went viral, of course. Karen became internet infamous, the flying SUV lady, and her legacy haunted her like a bad penny. But for us, things finally settled. The new president actually asked residents what they wanted. The air felt lighter. I upgraded the barrier. No more launches, just a message in LED lights, private property. Respect is free. Kids thought it was cool. The lawsuits fizzled out. Karen's appeal, rejected judge saying the evidence was damning, ordering her to pay part of my legal fees, not that I ever expected to see a dime. I went to a neighborhood barbecue, first one in years, that felt like a real party, not some forced smile event. People joked, teased each other, shared food, laughed for real this time. Peace doesn't just show up. You have to build it, fix the broken pieces, and defend what matters. One day, a young couple moved into Karen's old place. I dropped off a welcome basket and a note. If anyone ever tells you the HOA owns your driveway, call me first. We laughed. Their toddler chased a stuffed dog around the room. That night, I deleted most of the old footage except the moment after the SUV landed. Karen standing there stunned. Not because it was funny, but because it reminded me how far we'd come. She vanished, but her lesson lingered. Boundaries matter, and sometimes you've got to make them stand up and be counted. So, what do you think? Was I wrong to push back, or did Karen get exactly what she deserved? Where's the line between community and control, and who gets to draw it? I'm curious. Tell me what you would have done if it had been your driveway. Let's hear it.